Hello and welcome to another video. In this one we are taking a look at a Resident Evil game that has been kind of forgotten and was actually the first Resident Evil game that I ever played. It was the first Resident Evil game to feature a first person perspective. I'm talking about Resident Evil Survivor. It was released way back in the year 2000 on the PlayStation 1. There was a PC port as well which was released exclusively in China and Taiwan in the year 2002. I really wonder why the PC port was exclusive to China and Taiwan. Anyways, I played the PS1 version of the game on a PC, on a Pentium 4 system, which was a gift to me from my grandfather who is not in this world anymore. It was my first PC. So in the year 2005, somebody in my classroom gives me a CD which had the cover art of Resident Evil 4 on it, but the game inside that compact disc was this one. The CD also came with an emulator called the Emiraden emulator. Back then I had no idea what an emulator was or how emulation works, so it took me and my friends a while to figure out how to get this thing working, but somehow we did manage to do that. This game is set on an island called Sheena Island. It is set after the events of Raccoon City. It starts with a chopper crashing on this island and you play as a survivor of this crash. The crash results in the protagonist losing his memory. He is suffering from amnesia. He has a gun on him and that is his only hope. The mission is to get the hell out of the island because the island is a private township owned by Umbrella, which has been, guess what, struck by the zombie outbreak once again. Along the way you're gonna run into all sorts of Resident Evil monsters, from regular zombies to lickers to infected dogs, hunters, tyrants, giant spiders and whatnot. The final boss is a special variant of the tyrant called the Hypnosty type. I never managed to beat the final boss ever back in the day, and there is a specific reason for that too, which is a lack of a save mechanic. There is absolutely no way to save your game in this one. There is a load game option present in the main menu, but there are no typewriters within the game itself, which is super weird and a huge negative about this game. The emulator that we were using to play this game, called the Emiraden emulator, had no save state mechanic as far as I remember. Or maybe it did and we never managed to figure it out because we were so new to the whole PC thing. Ultra tier noobs actually. We always got to the final boss fight, which was quite challenging, as the Hypnosty type tyrant would keep mutating and coming back for us every time we killed him. The game gives you a fixed amount of continues and we always ran out on the final boss fight because there was no way to save progress. Me, my best friend and his younger brother, we would sit together and in a single session we would get right from the beginning to the end, and in the end we would always lose in the final boss fight. I've got some absolutely awesome memories with this one. We tried to complete this one at least 7 or 8 times. We got to the final boss fight, but eventually we did give up. So is the game good? To be honest, no, it's not. The absence of a save mechanic, clunky controls, it just doesn't work like a regular first person shooter where you aim and shoot straight away. You have to press a button to get the reticle on the screen, then move the reticle to the target and then press the shoot button. I mean, it sounds simple, but when you are playing it, it definitely feels clunky and primitive. Then it is one ugly looking game. It looks really bad even for the time it came out in. Resident Evil 3 came out before this one and it looks way better. I played this one on a CRT monitor and it looked really bad, really pixelated. I played some really old, really low-end games on that PC and some other PS1 games as well, but this game stood out as one of the ugliest. The footage on your screen right now is the game being played at 1080p upscaled and it looks way better than the way I played it back in the day. I mean, it looked really bad. It's an ugly looking game. Even upscaled it looks really rough, but trust me, it is worse looking than this. Add the native res. So it is all bad, isn't it? No, it is not actually all bad. If you remember, I just said I tried to complete this game 7 or 8 times. I came to the final boss fight and lost. As much as we hated the lack of the ability to save progress, we absolutely loved the formula. A town filled with zombies and all other sorts of monsters. The slow opening of doors, the creepy atmosphere, it was a really tense experience, one that we absolutely loved. There were hostile Umbrella soldiers present in the game as well. The tyrant always scared the living crap out of us. Despite of all the flaws, it was a really fun and really tense experience. And since I had never played a Resident Evil game before, I had nothing to compare it with. It's a game that is really close to my heart because of the memories I have with it, and also because it was my first Resident Evil game as well as my first zombie game ever. After playing this one, the zombie genre would become my favorite, not just in terms of games but movies as well. It is a really short game and it offers some level of replayability because it has branching paths at a particular point in the game. The game features multiple handguns, a magnum, a shotgun, a grenade launcher and a rocket launcher. The game features infinite ammo for the handguns. The zombies, they sound scary, and the overall sound design is pretty good too. Is it a must-play title by any means? No, not at all, but still worth a playthrough and a really interesting piece of history for the Resident Evil franchise. I really enjoyed replaying this to get the footage for this video. Playing this with a controller is a much better experience when compared to my OG experience with this one, because I did not have a controller back then, so I had to use the keyboard only for a first-person shooter. So yeah, it made things even clunkier. What was your first Resident Evil game? Do let me know down in the comment section, and if you're looking for some horror games, do check out the video on the end screen. Thank you very much for watching. Peace out.